When I picked up the Cashflow game, it was with the intention of adding another tool to teach my kids about financial literacy, something more engaging than just talks about savings and investments. And I wanted something that put them in real world situations, real world financial situations, but in a fun way. And having read Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was curious to see how his philosophy translated into this board game. First things first, although Cashflow is touted as a more advanced monopoly, and even I use it to describe it in a rudimentary way, just because everyone's heard of Monopoly, it's nothing like it. You don't just roll the dice, buy some property, and hope to bankrupt your friends. The entire setup mimics real life scenarios where you're juggling a profession, income, expenses, and debts. You have to work to escape the rat race by making smart investments, increasing passive income, and eventually making your way to the fast track. This is where you either land your dream or hit 50,000 in monthly cash flow. This game is all about strategy, not just keeping your head over water, but thoughtfully and strategically ensuring your success. Whether it's deciding to take a small deal or gamble on a big one, the decisions reflect real financial risks. You have income statements and balance sheets that you update throughout, which I think add an unexpected layer of depth. My little ones are asking questions about income versus expenses, and even the concept of passive income clicked for them in ways that traditional lessons just couldn't. A few things stood out during the gameplay. One of those is the market cards. These can really throw you curveballs, much like the real estate crashes or sudden windfalls you'd encounter in real life just when you think you've got control of everything. And of course, the focus on real estate investment aligns with Kiyosaki's overall philosophy, but it's a good springboard for explaining asset classes in general. Now, I have to be completely honest and say that the learning curve is steep, and not just for younger kids either, and there is a lot to keep track of. At first, it felt a bit much managing the balance sheet and making decisions consecutively, but once you get into the rhythm, it's all good and you start to feel the learning experience taking shape for the whole family. My eldest, who's 8, picked it up after a couple of rounds, but for younger players, it takes more patience and generally playing with them to learn rather than from a competitive angle. So if you really want to play this game, I recommend from teens upwards, unless your children have used similar types of games, things that require a lot of thought and introspect. It's also not a quick game. Rounds can stretch out, which isn't necessarily bad, but it might not fit into every family's schedule. Now again, as much as I appreciate the game and concept, I have to be honest. A huge downside is the replay value. After a few rounds, the scenarios can start to feel repetitive, especially if everyone grasps the core strategies. That said, Cashflow still does what it set out to do, which is teach key financial concepts like cash flow management, asset allocation, and risk taking, and it's still a solid resource that we will no doubt bring out on every family occasion possible.